1, 2. please feel free to take a seat. We're going to kick off in a minute. Please come all the way to the front. Keep coming. Right, we've got one more coming in. Right, well, good morning, everyone. Thanks for making the effort to come to Barnet today, where it's lovely and sunny. We've got the aircon on, so hopefully it should be cooling down a bit in here. The reason I'm holding this is I might be passing this around later. I'm not going to sing to you. I haven't got a guitar, so don't worry. Well, you can go if you'd like. I'm afraid there won't be any singing whatsoever. We have put today on because we've found there's been a great deal of interest in live streaming. Certainly we're getting asked more and more about it. And what we thought we'd do is try and demystify some of it. It can be a bit of a grey area, so we thought we'd sort of, start right at the beginning, sort of as the army do, march for the slowest soldier, and get you up to a level where we can then pass you off to all these guys who've come and joined us today from Blackmagic, Matrox, Digibox, JVC, to show you all the kit they've brought along, which is going to make live streaming hopefully a lot easier for you and profitable. Don't forget that. So I thought first we'll quickly start off with what we're going to do today. So I should point out we're streaming this live on Facebook, YouTube now, and there's five or six people watching us at the moment, so hello out there. So the idea about today is to have a look at all the kits, get hands-on, and a bit later this afternoon we'll get a chance to stream it. We have got some food coming later. There is tea and coffee water. Help yourself to any of those, lose through there. We have got a whole range of kit, from cameras to encoders to transmission devices. We've got Blackmagic Van outside, which is really cool if you haven't had a chance to see that. They don't have the 4K pocket camera with them, sadly, which I've already told them off about because I really wanted to have a look and play with that as well, but it's just not here. So, as I say, there'll be demonstrations a bit later and the opportunity to get hands-on. I thought the best way to start talking about streaming was to look at the history of streaming. So I went onto the internet and I Googled this because it's all, again, I said a bit earlier, it's a bit of a grey area. Where did it all start off and when did it start off? And from what I can tell, the first live stream was about 1991, and that was from Cambridge Uni. And it was streamed on their internal network, and it wasn't like today. So it was a stream that was a picture every 1 or 2 minutes, and it was of a coffee machine. You can see it's not very interesting, was it? In 95, that did get a bit more interesting, and it was an American college student and an artist. I'm just reading this here from my notes. And she set up a webcam in her dormitory to portray all aspects of her life. In 1998, she actually started charging people to access this webcam, and it spawned what is now $1 billion industry of ladies on cameras, and men, I suppose, I don't know. Anyway, that was moving on. In 1996, streaming came back to the UK or to Wales, and a UK rock band streamed a 1-hour concert, and they allegedly became the first live stream of video and audio. Now, this is all a bit sort of vague, but what I do know, some facts here, some fun facts. Guinness Book of Records, the longest uninterrupted live web stream was 7 years ago, so I'm sure we can beat that, not today, because I haven't got the time, because it was 150 hours and 30 minutes in duration. That was from Germany, so if anyone fancies it, there's a target to aim at. So that's 20 years ago, so it's all changed a bit since then. And what we're looking at is a lot of a lot of videos now are on demand. So we've got the likes of Sky, who are moving away to dishes to show programs over IP, Netflix, Amazon Prime, YouTube Red, Apple TV. Everyone's in on it, but not quite live on those platforms yet. But live has been around a while. I had a look. Justin TV in 2006, who are now Twitch, started offering live streaming. YouTube Live in 2011 and Facebook Live in August 2015, but mainstream in 2016. And a lot of people are using these platforms for live video. So the question is, why? Why stream video? Why go live? People, the likes of Amazon, it's instant gratification, sort of goods delivered the same day or next day, and people want to see what's happening when it's happening, and that is sort of one of the sort of reasons for for going live, is just to see exactly that. Whether it's a wedding, an event, there's lots of different things to stream live, but one of the big things about live is engagement, and that is your audience can get involved with you. So they can actually ask questions. If you're doing a product launch, for example, they can ask questions about the product there and then. So it's giving your client or the manufacturer that opportunity to get more involved with their audience. Saying live's now gone a lot easier, and I think we're sort of at the beginning of now what's going to become a gold rush with more and more people producing live content. Certainly by 2021, it's estimated that live streaming, the industry is going to be worth about $80 billion. So that's a lot of money. So you made the right decision coming here today. I was having a look here about other things that you could stream and how you can appeal to clients to offer that service of streaming video. And I was having a look at different things you could stream. So I did a list here. So weddings, or wedcasts as they're already known. People are streaming weddings, funerals, believe it or not, sports news, music, product launches, conferences, graduations, sales and marketing, open days. I mean, that's a great idea as well. Anything that you want to get a message across online. I read an article which was by Teradek, which actually was, I saw it on LinkedIn this week, and it says viewers don't want the same kind of content as traditional TV, where shows are over-polished and overproduced. In the live streaming space, viewers tune in for something candid, unscripted and unique, and that's the direction that live media is going. Now that was written by a lady from America who runs a production company who's been doing a lot of live, and that's quite interesting because if you're watching live video on platforms like Facebook, you'll see that more often than not, it is people running around with iPhones and just sort of, or smartphones, smart devices, just filming like that. But what we're looking at today is how you can increase the quality, how you can sort of, polish the productions more, so that they offer better sort of, quality, better value to your clients, and of course makes you more professional as well. So what I'm going to quickly talk about is the platforms. I'm going to talk about the encoders. I'm going to introduce the other guys, then I'm just going to encourage you all to all get hands-on and ask any techie questions you might have at that stage. So I'm going to talk mainly about the main 4 platforms, social media platforms. There are other ways to stream to other servers, which these guys have all got different sort of methods and solutions for that. But YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter Periscope. So I thought I'd start off with YouTube, which is probably going to be my favourite platform. There's a few, I'm going to quickly read my notes so I don't skip ahead or anything here. So YouTube obviously is a massive network. Streaming on YouTube gives you the option to monetize your streams, so you can earn money from them once you reach the minimum criteria that they demand of you. I think YouTube is possibly one of the fastest growing networks. I've been making little YouTube videos, and about 5 people a day are subscribing to me at the moment. That's with 4 videos over the last year talking about cameras, which I think is pretty crazy. I've been on Twitter for years, but that seems to have all slowed down. So I think YouTube is certainly a busy platform at the moment. With YouTube, you can start streaming on the go. You can schedule events. And when you start an event, your subscribers get notified to it as well. So they'll get an email or a notification on their phone saying that you've just gone live. So I do like YouTube. YouTube as well, I think the video quality is slightly better than that on Facebook. I'm not quite sure what Facebook are doing, but I think Facebook might compress it a bit more when it actually hits their server. But YouTube seems to be reasonable video quality. And you can embed streams as well. So when you create a stream on YouTube, you can click share, you can click embed, and you can take that code, which you can then put on your website or your client's website, and then it doesn't appear as a YouTube on the YouTube site. It appears on their website as well as YouTube, but you can change private or you can make it public. You've got all different options on there. The only word of advice on that I would say is if you do embed a video stream from YouTube on another website, you won't get the opportunity to comment or engage with your clients unless you click through back to YouTube. So YouTube is, it does have its pros and cons, like they all do. Saying that, I think Facebook, possibly at the moment, is probably one of the best places to stream to. And that is because lots of people, just out of interest, how many people here have got Facebook accounts? That's pretty much all of you. How many people have got YouTube accounts? Oh, all of you, okay. What a well-connected lot. But I figured that there are probably more people with Facebook accounts than there are YouTube accounts. I think companies will have more followers on Facebook than they possibly would have on YouTube. And certainly if you're a manufacturer, supplier, or any sort of company, and you are on Facebook, then again, if you go live, all your followers, which might be many thousands or tens of thousands, will know that you are live straight away. Facebook as well are starting to allow you to monetize your content as well, but you need to have a certain amount of people viewing the stream before you can do that. And at the moment, the way to monetize it is via your phone. So if you're shooting on an iPhone or again a smart device of some sort, you can then choose once you reach that criteria to start charging for it. It plays ads within it basically. The other one I want to talk to you about is Twitch, and one of my colleagues, Sam, knows a lot more about Twitch. He streams on Twitch regularly, and his wife actually works with Twitch, so it's worth finding him a bit later. He's hiding around the corner. There he is. Hello, Sam. So Twitch is an interesting platform, and I think it's probably the oldest platform, as in it started from Justin TV, which then became Twitch. It's owned by Amazon now, but it is predominantly people playing computer games, although they have in recent years expanded that to more events. I think it's very strange because there are channels where you can go and watch people eat food live. I mean, it's just the internet, isn't it? And Twitch users also pioneering something called live streaming, or IRL, which is in real life. So these people who might be playing computer games will then go out and walk around, and there's some interesting backpacks being made, which have got SIM cards, 4 SIM cards which are bonded, little cameras looking over your shoulder, and you can go about your day doing what you usually do, and people can watch you doing it. I mean, mine wouldn't be very interesting, sadly. So that's another option. And then Twitter. Twitter and Periscope is another way to stream, of course. So you can choose, if you've got lots of Twitter followers, you can stream there. Now, I've been saying you can do one or the other, but you can also multicast. There's ways of doing a simulcast. So you're simultaneously streaming to all these different platforms. And that then sort of gives you that opportunity to hit lots more people. So, cameras. What camera to use for streaming? Now, this really depends on what you want to do. For live streaming, I'll tell you the setup I've got and give you a bit more information about that, and you can have a play with that later. I use a Sony camera, which is the PXW Z150. It's incredibly out of vogue because it doesn't have interchangeable lenses, it doesn't have super shallow depth of field, and it's not a DSLR. But it does have 6 hours battery life. So it's absolutely brilliant. It has a multi-interface shoe, so you can slide on radio mic receivers, and it's just behind you over there. It's a great little camera, SDI out, it's MPEG recording as well as XAVC, so if you're dealing with news or anyone who, if you record and give them the media afterwards, they can handle the sort of the processing of the data as well. It's a great bit of kit. You can, of course, use any camera with an HDMI or SDI output. If you're streaming events like this and you haven't got a camera with a long battery life, you've obviously got to take into account and factor in that you want it to be mains powered. And if you are doing a stream which might be outside at an event, and you're walking around following people with something like an A7S camera, which is a full-frame chip, and they move that much, and you're on a fast lens, they're going to be out of focus. So it's very much about the kind of streaming that you're doing. So it's there's lots of choices. We've got another Panasonic similar camera here as well. We've got a JVC camera outside, the HM200. There's another model, the 250. These are great cameras for streaming. Again, longer battery life, and the JVC, which I haven't had to play with yet, which I really want to have a look at later. I want a demonstration, Scott. Can actually do graphics in camera for your live streams. So it's a really, really cool piece of kit. The other camera I use a lot is the Sony PXW Z90, which is the smaller brother of the Z150. And the Z90 has got really, really, I'm telling you here, my sort of secret's cheating. It's got incredibly fast autofocus, which really, really works. So that's another camera to have a look at. Kit-wise, I carry with me a couple of reporter microphones. I have some plug-in dongles for the radio, 2 of those. I have some lapel mics. I carry the streaming box, which I'm using a thing called a Live View, which I'll talk about in a minute. And it all sort of fits into one flight case, which is the orange one on the floor. I take a tripod and a monopod as well. The monopod is really great for events where you've got a camera like the Z150, which isn't the smallest, isn't the lightest, but you can just rest it down. If you're at an event where there's lots of drunk people, you can fight them off with a monopod as well as holding it high to get jib shots also. And that leads on to which streaming encoder. There's lots of choice, and we've got a few different options today. But the one that I want to talk about is this one. So there's one of these actually on the tripod streaming now, but this is the Live View Solo. So this is a relatively new piece of kit in that it's from Live View, who've been around for a long time, but they've traditionally been involved with point-to-point, so news streaming devices. So I've got some statistics. So the #1 live streaming brand at the World Cup was Live View, who used a total of 485 units, 15,000 live hours going to 40 countries in over 30,000 sessions using 36 terabytes of data. That's quite a lot, isn't it? The way the Solo works, I'm going to quickly introduce this and show you how this works. This is a bonding encoder. So we're bonding on 3 sources at the moment here. We've got 2 4G SIM cards, and we're also connected to our leased line, our network here, our internet network. You can use up to 4 bondings on this. So you can use 2 SIM cards, you can use Wi-Fi, and you can use a network as well. The SIM cards are in sort of 4G modem dongles, which just plug in via USB. You can then also get 4G modems with Wi-Fi and also with network Cat5 points on them, so you can use those as well. So you can actually run a Live View off of 4 SIMs, which then bonds. They can be on 4 different networks. So if you're in an area where, let's say, EE isn't good, Vodafone might be better or O2 might be better, and then it will sort of share data over which one's giving you the best signal. Bonded 4G is really good. There's a few things you need to bear in mind, and that is, in a venue like this where we are today, it's great because we've got a very, very fast internet connection. If you're outside using 4G SIM cards, let's say at a music festival or an event, let's say NEC or XL or somewhere like that, you're going to have tens of thousands of people, possibly more, with mobile phones trying to do the same thing that you are, and that's what's going to sort of slow the 4G down or even stop it working. So other options are using leased lines, but we've also got a satellite. It's a very small satellite truck built into a Mini outside, which is giving us a network connection anywhere in Europe actually. So there's different ways of getting the video up. As I said, there are other encoders to have a look at. I've used the Live View quite a lot, and I think it's so reliable, and the stream is still going good. So reliable and such a great piece of kit. You've got a couple of hours, about a 2 and a bit hour battery life on it, and it's got SDI and HDMI connectors. So what I've been talking about is mainly plugging, so far, a camera into a single encoder and then going live on the internet. So just to recap, the way we've got this working at the moment is we've got a Sony camera plugged in via SDI into one of these boxes. We've set it up via the interface, say that we want the stream to go to YouTube. We could have said Facebook, and we've hit the button, and it's just happened that simply. Now, that is for a single one-camera stream. Now, obviously, if you're going to be doing this and taking it to the next level, you can do multi-cam streams. What you need to worry or think about at that stage is the output isn't coming from a single camera, but it's coming out of your switcher or mixer. And that's what we've got over here. We've got Holden, who are the distributor for Blackmagic, and they've brought all kinds of kit, actually, and data video. So you can see how you can plug multiple cameras in, and then you can take the output from that and stream it. What I'd like to do at this point, and you've probably had enough of listening to me, is to ask Richard from Holden to come across and just to tell us a bit about what he's got with him. So would you like to come across and just introduce yourself and tell us what kit you've got there, please? Let me pass you that.
Hi guys, I don't know if I need this. I can always shout.
That's just going for the stream.
Oh, of course. Sorry, I forgot about the stream. Hello, viewers at home. I hope you're giving me your full attention and not looking at any rude sites. I know what the internet can do. Anyway, onwards swiftly to the kit we've brought here. I'm Richard Payne from Holden. I'm the so-called head of technology at the Holden, basically because I'm an ex-cameraman and I play with the stuff, and I'm a bit sad and geeky when it comes to all the equipment we do. Holden are a distributor for Blackmagic Design, Panasonic, Teradek, Small HD, Data Video, and Telestream, and a bunch of other manufacturers besides. And we've got some streaming kits, our kits all lined up along the side, and we've also got Peter Dinsdale from Blackmagic with us today, who's going to can take you through the latest Blackmagic kit in a van out in the glorious sunshine. So please feel free to wander out there later. But I'd like to tell you what we've got. We don't do live view. Is it live view? Live View. We do Teradek. They make similar kit to Live View, doing similar things, tend to be lower price point to the equivalent from Live View, but also used by BBC, Sky and various other big commercial operations, but also used by individuals. And we've got streaming boxes from about £4,000 going up to about £6,000 on here. Probably easier. Will this mic reach if I go over and point at things, Simon? How long is your cable? It's going to be easier if I go and point at things. Oh, thank you. Sorry, guys. Cable bashing. Yeah, yeah, exactly. If I could drop it in between here, then that would be great. And I'll start this end and tell you what we've got, and you can come and have a much more closer, in-depth look at it later. You've moved, have you, Simon? Cool bananas. At this end, I've got something called Wirecast Gear. This is a really interesting box. Please come in for a demonstration and find out about it. Wirecast makes software as well as hardware for the equivalent of, it's like a virtual vision mixer. Wirecast will run, it's made by a company called Telestream. It's been out for many years now. It's a very mature technology. Similar, if any of you know about a TriCaster, it's similar to sort of TriCaster technology in that it runs on either a Mac or a PC, whereas the TriCaster is just PC-based, but this is Mac or PC, and you can get it as software starting at about £500, which will cut between multiple sources, which can be webcams or streams coming in from other places. The version here is a hardware device, so it's a turnkey system. It's supplied pre-installed and working with 4 HDMI inputs, as well as inputs which you can get over a network from, you can have points anywhere on the network. You can also use this NDI cameras, NDI network device interface. It's a new way of plugging cameras in over a standard network. So we could plug a PTZ in. If I was plugged into Production Gear's network, I could plug a camera in up in the gantry there, up there, anywhere on the network. It would suddenly pop up as a new camera source here. This could be brilliant. If you wanted to make a corporate video around anybody's building, you could just plug the cameras into any network points and it would use their existing IT infrastructure. It is compressed, so it's not using huge bandwidth. We've set this camera to about 20 megabits a second H.264 compression. But there's very, very low latency, less than a frame sort of latency over NDI, and suddenly these cameras pop up as a source. So you can control the camera, so pan, tilt and zoom it remotely, control the autofocus or anything else, as long as the camera has NDI. And there are cameras from Lumens with NDI, and there's a Panasonic now make their best PTZs have got NDI as well. So Telestream Wirecast Gear is a hardware box, but you could run this on your laptop, and I've got it installed on my laptop as well. So other things Wirecast can do, it's designed to take multiple inputs. It can take inputs from Teradek encoders like this cube here or the Bond over there, and I'll explain those in a bit more detail, and it will add those to your camera inputs as sort of virtual sources and let you switch between them. And then it will also stream output to Facebook, to YouTube, to MySpace, Friends Reunited. Oh no, those don't exist anymore, do they? How fickle your whole internet thing is. Anyway, so it will stream to any of the usual places, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you want to go to. It will also go to a couple simultaneously, so you don't have to just go to one place. You can send it to multiples. And I'll talk a bit more about going to multiple outputs in a minute. Next to that, we've got this vision mixer from Data Video. This is called the, I hope it's written on it, HS1600T. This is quite a clever vision mixer. It's designed to use these PTZ cameras. So with one network connection, you can control and power and get your pictures back from these cameras. However, it's not like NDI. The difference between this mixer and this PTZ camera, and this mixer and this PTZ camera, is this is just using a network cable, just as a cable. So it's using something called HD-base-T. It's using a system to get the pictures and the control over one cable, but it doesn't use standard networks. So we plug this into a router, it just wouldn't work. Whereas with NDI, you can plug it into an existing IT infrastructure. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's the difference between NDI and this type of camera. But the great thing about this mixer is you just open the lid, plug in 3 cameras via this, and you can have a 4th camera on SDI if you want to, and just cut between them, just switch using here or mix, and it's got a streaming built into it. So you can stream from this one sort of suitcase side thing, control the cameras, do the cameras, write the theme tune, sing the theme tune, all from one box. So that's the data video mixer. Very simple, simple cable, simple to wire up. So if you had to set up a venue very quickly, that's a very good, useful box for doing it. This little box here is an NVD35. NVD stands for Network Video Decoder. It goes the other way. So you can take a stream into this and turn it back into an SDI or a HDMI video source. So it's basically like a little set-top box. The use for these is you can have about 360 quid. We're actually using it to decode Sky News. We've got a Sky News feed coming in, and we could point it at a YouTube URL, which could be your live stream from another country or another place. I could point it at Simon's stream from this, and we could be bringing that in as a source, convert it to SDI and use it in a traditional vision mixer or onto a standard television. So NVD, Network Video Decoder. And from data video up here, we've got an NVS30, Network Video Server. This is a little hardware box which will take HDMI and turn it into a stream which we can send to YouTube, live stream, everywhere else, send to the internet. So data video make network video encoders to get your video into a format where you can stream it, and decoders which turns it from a stream back into a video signal again. Quite useful little boxes. Moving along, let's start with this box here. This is a Teradek Cube. Now these were one of the first network video encoders. They're a bit like a Swiss Army knife. It's designed to get video from your camera via SDI or HDMI into a stream, either H.264 or H.265. Now H.265 only sounds one better than H.264, but it's actually twice as efficient, so you can get the same quality video at half the data rate. So if you're struggling for data rate uplink, then suddenly getting it at half the data rate, that means a 1 meg stream looks as good as a 2 meg stream on H.264. It's a significant advantage when you're having trouble with data, or where you've got a low upload speed. So H.265 is coming. Everybody's going to be using it, but at the moment it's a little bit new, and none of the CDNs use H.265 at the moment. So you could use this H.265 encoder to come to a H.265 decoder in another building, in another place, on another continent, in a small adjacent planet, as long as it had Wi-Fi. And so this is a hardware H.265 decoder that would turn it back into a video picture. So if you needed to get high-quality video pictures from one place to another, H.265 is a better bet because it does it at a lower bit rate. Or you can send video from this H.265 encoder to the cloud. How easy it is to mention terms like the cloud, which 10 years ago just meant a white fluffy thing in the sky, and now of course means this sort of ethereal, web-connected, processor-powered, mainly run by Amazon up in the, it's probably all Elon Musk, really. It's probably what he did for breakfast. But anyway, the cloud, Teradek run transcoders, so you can send H.265 from one of these boxes up to the cloud, and then it will send back H.264 to YouTube live stream and simultaneous place to Twitter, to all these different places. So you can, let's say you're really struggling for an uplink speed, you can send it using an H.265 at twice the quality, and then in the cloud convert it to H.264 and disseminate it, give it to various different platforms that don't yet support it. So you've got to want to. An H.265 cube is about 700 quid more than an H.264 one, but it does H.264 as well. So for future proof, it might be worth thinking about that. If you want to save the money, a cube is about £1,800. So I said a cube's a bit like a Swiss Army knife. So it's got HDMI and SDI. It can do multiple things. It can either go to YouTube, live stream, all those places, or it can send a video as a high-quality reference signal to an iPad or an iPhone, so you can use iPads and iPhones as monitors. You can even use a few of those simultaneously. or it can record that as a H.264 file on an SD card, which you've got plugged in, or it can send video back to a hardware decoder in a TV studio. This is the rack mount versions, which you can have up to 8 decoders in one rack mount. So, for instance, BBC News have one of these with 8 decoders in, so people with these around the country can be sending feeds to it and decoding it, turning it back into SDI again, and kicking it out of their network. So that's why you'd want a rack mount one like that. Above that, I've got another box. The trouble with streaming is it's all blooming boxes. Cameras are much more interesting. Anyway, sorry about that. So I've got another box. This is an NVS40. Basically, what the NVS40 is 4 encoders in one box. So if you wanted to record 4 sources and send them up, of course you'd need the bandwidth to send all 4 up, but that's what it does. It's a 4-channel streaming box. So if you want to send 4 sources and let your audience decide which camera feed they want to watch. You could have one for the teenagers with really wobbly, shaky, crap phone footage, and you could have one for the grown-ups, which has got some nice shallow depth of field, well-lit footage, if that's what you want to do. Anyway, it's probably too much. I've got a teenage daughter, so I know what she likes watching. It's rubbish, absolute rubbish. All bloody people playing games and things like that. Anyway, this box is from Blackmagic, and this is the Web Presenter. And the Web Presenter is a different type of encoder. The other encoders, like this one, which I forgot to mention, and the Cube and these NVS things, have got a hardware chip to do the encoding in. The Web Presenter is an interface for getting HDMI and SDI into a laptop via USB. Basically, you can plug up to a 4K 60p signal into this box on SDI, on 12 gig SDI, and it will kick out 720 resolution video as the equivalent of a webcam on USB. Not even USB 3, it's USB, standard USB. Plug that into your laptop, and your laptop suddenly goes, oh, you've got a webcam. And the advantage of that is Skype, or anything else which can use a webcam, Open Broadcaster, which is a free bit of software that does encoding, all of it just sees a webcam. You don't need to load drivers, software, it pops up, and your high-quality video source is suddenly available to use as a feed for Skype or for encoding to YouTube or anything else. And they're low cost, about £380 or so. Do spend a bit extra to get the screen on the front. It's well worth having a screen. They come without a screen. With the screen, it's about £70, £80 for a screen on the front. But you can then switch, use it as a simple vision mixer between HDMI and SDI sources like this, just by pressing buttons 1 and 2. And also you get a confidence view of the monitor. It's for 75 quid, it's well worth having. Also, the other clever thing about the Terranex box is it's got very high quality scaling in. It only outputs 720, which Facebook only takes 720, so it's no big issue for that. But it only outputs 720, but it can take a 4K source and scale it down to 720. It does that very well. Downscaling is harder to do than people think, and if you downscale badly, you get jagged edges. Your diagonal lines turn into flights of steps, and that, of course, that bad scaling is terrible for H.264 encoders. It produces aliasing, it produces false detail in pictures, which then the poor hard-pressed encoders have to cope with false detail as well as the real detail. Suddenly the pictures go muddy and awful and crappy. So bad quality down conversion is one of the worst enemies of any of these encoders. So the Web Presenter does it really well because it uses their Terranex engine for doing a high-quality downscale, whether you're using 4K or HD. Or even SD. No, it doesn't work with SD. Oh, sorry, I forgot. SD is lower than 720, of course. So forget I said SD. Erase that from the web, Google. Oh. No, I think you can now, under GDPR rules, erase that from the web. Alexa, erase. Siri, erase that from the... I think I've got it all covered there. Moving on, I've got a vision... Oh, by the way, the reason we brought a Panasonic PTZ is Panasonic PTZs like this HE40 have streaming built in. So we can stream from this as well as send out a high-quality SDI or HDMI, depending on which version you have. So there's hardware streaming encoding built in, which can be fantastic. And we could take that as a source straight into Wirecast from anywhere on the planet if we're sending it out. So hardware streaming, and also Panasonic now make NDI cameras as well. So we've got an NDI, remember the network device interface, so you can plug it into a network infrastructure and get pictures through. Right, moving along, we've brought a Blackmagic Atom Television Studio Pro HD, which is an all-in-one mixer. We've got, we can fade, we can take 4 SDI sources, 4 HDMI sources, and this is all for a couple of grand. For £2,000, you've got an 8-channel mixer with 4 HDMI, 4 SDI. We've got a multi-view out. We can use the Blackmagic cameras. We can get CCU control, so remote control of the cameras with color correction, zoom, focus, if you've got a camera that supports all that, all on this one unit here. And of course, that's brilliant as providing your on-location mixer for you take the mixed output, send it through the web presenter into your laptop, and then stream from there. So Blackmagic have a sort of all solution. It doesn't have the streaming built into this. You do need an extra box to do the streaming, but then it can be any box you like. It could be Teradek, Live View, Data Video, whatever streaming box you like, because it's just giving you an SDI and an HDMI out. So if you want a better look at the Blackmagic stuff, you're much better off in the Sunshine Out with Peter Dinsdale. And finally, moving on.
Sorry, we've had a bit of a complaint. Could you stop telling people's Alexas to delete things?
Yes, sorry about that. Alexa, forget I said that. I'm sure that'll work. So it's their own fault for inviting Google into their houses. I'm sure that's all Elon Musk as well. Anyway, oh God, I've suddenly insulted Elon Musk. That's gonna cause problems. My future is over. Right, so this is Teradek Bond, and this is Bond Backpack. Now, this basically, Bond Backpack is one of those in a very big backpack with a bonding module. So you can add multiple 3G, 4G data together and send your pictures back from difficult locations where you haven't got brilliant Wi-Fi or Ethernet, internet, and you can bond together 4 3G, 4G SIM cards together to give you decent uplink. The reason you might want it as a backpack is, as you can see, it's got a V-Lock battery in there which will literally last all day. You've got an SDI coming out on a loopy cable, so have that on your back. It's also got these high-powered cellular modems called nodes. You can have up to 4 of these in. Basically, if my phone was giving me 1 bar and sort of 1 meg upload, if I took the SIM out of my phone and put it in one of these nodes, I'd probably be getting 5 or 6 meg on exactly the same crappy connection that is giving me 1 meg on my phone, because it's got big aerials. So it's got a much better sort of cellular connection. Because of the big aerials, it can also leapfrog to the next cell tower. So if you've got contention, if you've got lots of people trying to use the close towers, because of the better reception, it could be using a different cell tower and giving me better throughput. So nodes and using the bonding with nodes will give you better results than using little USB modems which don't have the big aerials sticking out the top. So that's why nodes are really cool. You can use a single node on a cube to give you better throughput. And you can also, by the way, you can bond cubes to the mobile phone in your pocket to give you, use your phone data rather than having to buy a separate SIM and have that separate account. And the last thing I'll show you is a little video from Teradek. So sitting on top of this camera here, on top of this GH5, is the video. Has an HDMI in. This is actually the Video Pro, so it can record as well. This is about £900, and it's a sort of the lowest cost streaming box we've got here. It does have a poor relation called the standard video, which is about £500 or £600, but the Video Pro is much better. It's a faster processor. It'll connect faster. It will talk to your phone by Bluetooth. It's easier to configure. So this little box here and this camera, as long as I was using the data on my phone or a single 3G or Wi-Fi, I could be streaming just from this to YouTube, live stream, Twitter, my Facebook, whatever, anywhere on the internet. So it's a very self-contained, a very lightweight little solution for streaming. That's it. I think I've monopolised enough of the time and annoyed enough people's Alexas, so I'll hand over. Who's next? Do come and talk to me, and I'll talk to you in more detail with less jokes about any of this stuff.
Right, thank you very much, Richard. Matrox, Paul, would you like to come here, or should we there, wherever you'd like.
I don't know. I mean, did you want to...
Let's turn the camera around. Okay, if we can pass the cable back over this way. Sorry about this, chaps.
You can all shift your chairs.
Yeah.
I'll do your piece on the way past. Who wants it?
Just there. Okay, hello everyone. Hello online. My name is Paul Mothersall from Matrox. We're here today as a manufacturer to show you our streaming and recording appliances. A family of appliances that we've grown over the last 3 or 4 years, and very well suited to streaming, and much gives you a broad area where we can actually fit these types of products. So it all started from our Monarch HD, the smaller box on the right-hand side there. We realized that obviously Matrox has a lot of knowledge in video I/O. You may remember us from the post-production days where we were producing video editing cards, boosting Adobe Premiere with real-time encoding, real-time effects, etc. One of the stages later on in that process, we were actually providing H.264 encoding at the back end. So we've been doing hardware encoding for many years. Then we realized about 4 years ago that we can take this I/O technology, we can take this H.264 encoding technology and repurpose it, do something else with it. And the one area that was really growing fast and still is growing fast is streaming. So we brought out the Monarch HD, a simple HDMI input device. So taking direct feed from a camera or from a video mixer, HDMI video mixer, worked very well on the back end of a Roland mixer or even a Blackmagic 8M, for example. So it doesn't matter where the feed comes from, but we just need a video feed. Once we have that basically in the box, we have enough processing power to provide both a stream and a recorded file simultaneously. Now, the beauty of this is that they are independent of each other. So they will actually allow you to stream in accordance with your bandwidth. So if you were only uploading 2 megabits per second or 5 megabits per second, you don't want to be recording at that level of quality. You want a higher quality recording, a backup. So the device has the ability to either capture via SD card, USB, or to the network itself that it sits on as a network appliance. And that you can capture then at Blu-ray quality. So you could be streaming at 5 megabits per second, which is brilliant quality for streaming, but still maintaining a 25 megabit recording, Blu-ray quality recording. They'll be recorded in a known file, an MPEG, MP4 or a .mov file. So nice and easily, it could be dropped into an editor, used for, or uploaded to the web straight away. So it's nice and simple. From there, we had a number of questions posed to us. Where's SDI? So we introduced the next product in the family, the Monarch HDX, which sits in the middle, slightly larger form factor. Same premise, streaming and recording appliance, but this one is catering for the broadcaster. We started to add in features of a much greater quality. First, we introduced the SDI, provided that connectivity. We still kept HDMI on there as well. So you can come in from either of those two sources, but it's still only a single input device. The additional features we added for the broadcaster to give them the confidence that they need with this type of encoder, we added SDI bypass. So this could happily sit in the transmission chain. You know, worst case scenario, if the box fails, power fails, the SDI just loops straight through, transmission is unaffected. Secondly, we added a frame synchronizer. What we realized when working with the Monarch and multiple sources, mainly mixers, you can get disruptive video coming through. Encoders are very sensitive to that. And so with the frame synchronizer on the inputs of the HDX, again, gives the broadcaster the confidence that the input that's coming in is perfectly cleaned up before it hits the encoder. And lastly, but not least, is the way that we've actually presented the encoders to you. It has the same horsepower as the little box. However, this shows you 2 channels of encoding, and you can designate the task of each of those encoding channels. So not only is it a streaming and recording appliance, just the same as the Monarch HD, but it also becomes a dual channel streamer. So on those occasions when you're doing your live stream and you've got to get to 2 social media groups, you can actually stream to YouTube and Facebook simultaneously from that one feed. But they're independent of each other. So as Richard mentioned, you know, Facebook wants 720. YouTube can take 1920, 1080. So the encoders are independent of each other in respect of resolution, bit rate, and destination. The box doesn't stop there. You can actually flip it over. It's a recorder at the same time. Designate the 2 encoders to recording, and you could be recording to both network and SD cards simultaneously. Again, different resolutions, different bit rates. So that allows us to put this sort of box in many different scenarios, whether it be for schools, whether it be for government, public sector, corporate, house of worship. Many sort of live production aspects can actually use this hardware tool, not just the broadcaster. From there, we evolved to what looks exactly the same, which is the Monarch LCS. In taking those 2 products through to educational establishments, providing tools for their graduations and sporting events, it became evident that we were only a few features away from having something that could actually be deployed in many, many classrooms. So the LCS basically was adapted to have an additional input, a second HDMI coming in. So now we can capture both video and the computer content. So we'll capture your PowerPoint or your keynote presentations. The frame synchronizer will handle the difference between your 60 hertz content and your 25 frames per second video. And we'll marry the 2 together, provide you picture-in-picture, side-by-side, or a live switch capability. So it has a sort of production front end built in with a compositor that allows you then to hand over to the encoders in the same way that we do on the Monarch HDX. You still get your dual encoding, so whether you want to send that picture-in-picture feed through to Facebook or to YouTube simultaneously, or for a school to be recorded in multiple places, this box will actually do that for you. So that provides us with a family of products, a family of streaming solutions that will fit into many, many places. Finally, from there, we're moving on. Matrox is not stopping there. Streaming and encoding is the place that we are occupying, and we will continue to do so. Just here, we'll give you a sneak peek of a product that will be coming out or announced at IBC. This is a prototype of our next generation of Monarch encoder. So this will be 4K capable, multiple HD encoder. It will work beautifully for remote productions. And from IBC, we will be inviting customers to sort of look at this tool, to deeply integrate it into perhaps their workflows and their solutions that they want to come up with. And then from there, this will then be more widely spread into a sort of off-the-shelf product that you will be able to pick up just like any of this family of products that we've just shown you. So if you have any interest in this product or something along this lines that's 4K capable, multiple HD encoding, please come and see us. We'll be happy to talk to you about it, give you a little bit more information about what it's capable of doing and when it will be available and the sort of pricing structure. That sort of sums up what we have here and what we're showing you today. I hope that's helped. Please do come and ask us any questions. For the online viewers, sorry, obviously you can't ask those questions, or if you do, ask them to Production Gear. Drop by our website, matrox.com/video, and we'll be happy to help. Thank you. On to the next one.
Thank you. Next, we have got Andy from Global. Would you like to come and stand around here, but not with such harsh backlight behind you, please?
I'm going to be quite quick because I've...
Brilliant.
I'll be a bit quicker than anybody else. So...
Oh, no, that way.
Okay. No.
You're not moving, just a silhouette.
Hello, everybody. My name's Andrew. I'm from Global Distribution. It's the first time I've done anything like this, so excuse my stage nerves. I'm not going to be as technical as these guys, because these guys have covered everything, really. I represent Global Distribution. We're a Cambridge-based company, and our main focus is on data storage. But we also have some nice video products as well, which kind of slot into that side of things. We're outside today. We specialise in monitors as well, Atomos monitors. We're the distributors for Atomos. You may have heard of those. They're quite unique insofar as they also record as well, so you can do like backup recordings whilst you're doing your shooting. In fact, I was just speaking to a gentleman this morning whose little Atomos monitor got him out of a big mess when somebody had messed up with the card and the camera. Alongside the Atomos products, we also distribute Matrox as well. And we also distribute Roland Vision mixers. So you can see there's a nice symbiotic relationship there going on between capturing the data in the first place, recording it whilst on the fly, and also then feeding it to a vision mixer, and then off to some nice kit like this to send your stuff out live up into wherever you want to send it to. I just going back to this 19-inch Sumo monitor at the moment. There's been a new update on that recently, where that can actually function as a vision mixer. If you have 4 externally gen-locked feeds, it will then take those 4 feeds into the monitor, and you can actually vision mix from the monitor. So your monitor becomes your quadrant vision mixer, and it records those 4 feeds at the same time as well. So that's quite a unique little feature. I've also got a little 7-inch monitor here as well, down on the table, and it's all being run live from an FS5 camera. 2 signals going into the vision mixer, and then we're taking an output feed from there into the Matrox unit here. What else can I say? We've also got a new product coming along, a new monitor coming along at IBC. Well, it should be out before IBC actually. It's a new 5-inch Ninja 5. Everybody's been asking about this, and we hope to have a working prototype of this very, very soon. We've had some little mock-ups that people have seen, but hopefully the next, where are we, August, yes, Q3, it should be around this, hopefully this month. We'll see what happens. If any of you come to IBC in September, which is the place to be, you'll see it there, I'm pretty sure. So that's me. I'm Andrew from Global Distribution. If you want to come outside into the lovely sunshine, I'll take you through some of the things that the monitors do, and we can catch up on things there. How's that? Is that okay?
Perfect.
Thank you very much. Short and sweet. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to introduce you all now to Scott, who's here from Digibox, who'll say a brief bit about what you've got as well outside in the sun.
Yes. Hi, I'm Scott from Digibox. We're a UK and European distributor, very similar to the Holden guys. We look after the broadcast and Pro AV worlds. We've brought along a few products, an AJA streaming and recording device, a couple of the JVC cameras, including the handheld camera which was mentioned earlier, which has the ability to stream live direct from the camera with the built-in graphics. It's actually being used for quite a few smaller sporting facilities. So, for instance, Dunstable Town Football Club, who are actually taking it to away games and using it to stream back to the clubhouse and pulling in fans to increase revenue. So it's quite an interesting product. We also have the StreamStar Case 510. It's a small portable production system. Again, SDI, HDMI inputs, and the ability to see NDI. Yeah, we're just outside on the left-hand side. Come and say hello, and we're more than happy to take you through.
That's brilliant. Right, thank you all very much. Have we got Peter here, or is he hiding outside in his van? That's fine. We've got a Blackmagic van outside as well. That's it for the stream now. So thanks everyone who's watched. Sorry about the audio issues at the beginning and the light, strong backlight. Thanks for tuning in. And everyone else, we're going to move these chairs out of the way. We're going to get some food in a while. So feel free to have a play and get hands on now. Cheers.
Thank you.